At Thanksgiving, my aunt told the whole table I was childless by choice, but she had no idea I'd just had my third miscarriage. I was sitting there pushing cranberries around my plate when Aunt Beth started her usual holiday commentary. She'd been drinking wine since noon and had that look in her eyes that meant trouble. "Well," she announced loud enough for everyone to hear, "at least someone at this table is smart enough to stay childless by choice." Everyone went quiet. My cousin Jake dropped his fork. My mom started clearing dishes even though we weren't done eating, but Beth kept going. "I mean, kids are so expensive these days, and messy, and loud. Some people just aren't cut out for it, you know?" She was staring right at me. I wanted to disappear into my chair. What she didn't know was that 2 weeks earlier, I'd been in the hospital losing my third pregnancy. The doctor had said there might be something wrong with my uterus. My husband Tom had held my hand while I cried in that sterile room that smelled like disinfectant and broken dreams. We'd been trying for 4 years. The first miscarriage happened at 6 weeks. The second at 9 weeks. We'd already picked out names. This last one hurt the worst because we'd made it to 12 weeks and thought we were safe. We'd even bought a tiny onesie that said Turkey Baby, specifically for today's announcement. Instead, the onesie was still in my car, stuffed in a Target bag under my passenger seat. "Actually," I said, setting down my water glass, "it's not by choice." The table got even quieter. Uncle Rick stopped mid-chew on his turkey leg. "Oh," Beth said, suddenly looking uncomfortable. "Well, I just meant I've had 3 miscarriages," I continued. My voice was steady even though my hands were shaking. "The last one was 2 weeks ago. We've been trying for 4 years. Beth's face went white. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. "So no, it's not by choice. Sometimes your body just doesn't cooperate with what you want most in the world." Mom started crying into her mashed potatoes. Dad reached over and squeezed my shoulder. Tom grabbed my hand under the table, but I wasn't done. "You know what else isn't by choice, Beth? Having an aunt who gets drunk at family dinners and says hurtful things to people she doesn't actually know anything about." The silence was so thick you could have cut it with the carving knife. Beth mumbled something about being sorry and excused herself to the bathroom. She didn't come back to the table. We heard her car start up about 10 minutes later. My younger sister Emma leaned over and whispered, "That was the most badass thing I've ever seen." Later, while we were doing dishes, Mom pulled me aside. "Honey, why didn't you tell us what you were going through?" "Because I didn't want pity," I said. "I just wanted to handle it myself." "You don't have to handle everything alone," she said, hugging me so tight I could barely breathe. The next morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls and about 30 text messages. Word had spread through our extended family faster than gossip at a church potluck. But instead of judgment, everyone was offering support. My cousin in Arizona said she'd been through the same thing. My uncle's new wife sent me the name of a specialist in the city. Even my grandma, who never uses her phone for anything except solitaire, had somehow figured out how to send me a heart emoji. Beth called that afternoon. She was crying before I even said hello. "I'm so sorry," she sobbed. "I had no idea. I was just running my mouth like always. I never meant to hurt you." "I know," I said, and I did know. Beth had always been the type to talk without thinking, especially after a few drinks. "Is there anything I can do?" she asked. "Yeah," I said. "Next time you want to comment on someone's life choices, maybe ask yourself if you actually know what you're talking about first." She laughed through her tears. Deal. 6 months later, we found out we were pregnant again. This time, we made it past 12 weeks, then 20, then 30. When our daughter was born healthy and screaming her little lungs out, Beth was one of the first people to visit the hospital. She brought the biggest stuffed turkey I'd ever seen and a card that said, "For the best turkey baby ever born."